this series between the Knicks and the Hawks, for all intents and purposes, it's over. It's over. Knicks fans, they got happy when they finally won a game in Game 2, and they really thought they stood a chance against this Hawks team, and they don't. They just don't. They're getting their ass beat right now. The Hawks are up 3-1. They're probably going to lose the next game in New York, and even if they don't, they're definitely going to lose the next game in Atlanta, because the games in Atlanta really haven't been close. And I gotta say, I'm upset, okay? You know, I'm not just trying to mock the Knicks fans here. I wanted you guys to win. I've been rooting for the Knicks in this series, not because I like the Knicks or anything, I like the Sixers. And because I like the Sixers, I would have much rather played New York in the second round. And this is exactly why. It's because the Hawks are a much better team. Just straight up, they're a much better team. New York is a bad offensive team, and they're a very overrated defensive team. There's a reason why the Sixers have won their last 14 or 15 straight games against New York. The Knicks have not beaten us since we drafted Ben Simmons. Hell yes, I would rather play this Knicks team in the second round than the Atlanta Hawks, who tend to give us issues because Trae Young is so damn good. And that's what Knicks fans are learning right now. It's crazy to me how overrated Trae Young was before this series. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. Not overrated, how underrated Trae Young has been this season. It's ridiculous. He made an all-star starter last season, and no, he shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have been an all-star starter. But then this year, he didn't even make the all-star team, and people were acting like that's reasonable? Hell yes, this man is an all-star level player. I know people don't like him because of his foul baiting, but people don't like James Harden because of the same thing. But you didn't have anyone sitting there and pretending James Harden wasn't a top 10 player in the NBA. Likewise, you've got people now pretending Trae Young isn't a top 10 point guard in the NBA, pretending he's not a very good player for this team, and now we're seeing it. 28 points, 10 assists on 47, 37, 96 shooting splits. That's what Trae Young is doing. He's missed one free throw in this series, and for the record, he's not even getting to the line that much. He's getting to the line about 6 times a game on average. Over the 4 games, he shot 22 free throws. That is nothing crazy. So Knicks fans, you've got nothing to cry about except for the fact that your team cannot play any defense. And it's specifically from the three-point line. Trae Young is shooting 37% from 3, and he takes a lot of crazy tough threes. He's taking logo shots. He's crazy. Bogdanovic shooting 37%. John Collins is shooting 43%. Kevin Huerter shooting 50%. Lou Williams is shooting 50% from 3. Solomon Hill is shooting 50% from 3. It's ridiculous. They are going off on the Knicks because they are not a good three-point defense or perimeter defense, period, whatsoever. All season long, they've packed the paint, very similar to the Utah Jazz, I would say. They've packed the paint and just made shots at the rim really difficult, and they've left people open from 3. And if you look at the Knicks throughout the season, teams shoot worse than their average on wide open shots against the Knicks. Now, some of this is the Knicks doing like decent closeout defense, but some of it's also just the fact that the Knicks have been kind of lucky this season. They really have. Again, like, I was making fun of them a little bit earlier, okay? But really, I'm not making fun of them here. They have been a lucky team. Teams have been shooting worse than they mathematically, statistically should be against the Knicks, and it's not all because of good defense. It's partially just because the Knicks have been lucky and players have been missing shots that they normally make when playing the Knicks. And now, look what's happening. They're playing the Hawks, a very good three-point shooting team, and they are getting absolutely ass-whooped. Meanwhile, on the other end of the floor, the Knicks can't do anything on offense. They really can't. Their offense is pretty much just Derrick Rose playing like an MVP again. The man is averaging 23 points on 50, 100 shooting splits. He has been a monster. He's been phenomenal. He's also putting in 5 assists a game. The man's been killer. He looks like his MVP self again. Absolutely dominating. And he's the only reason that these last 2 games in Atlanta have been less than 30-point deficits. He really is. He's putting pressure on the Hawks defense. He's taking advantage of their weak perimeter defense, such as Trae Young especially. He is just going off. But the rest of this New York team, it's just not that good. Julius Randle, I don't want to take away from his regular season. He absolutely deserved Most Improved Player. He absolutely deserved to be an All-Star. And if he makes like All-NBA third team, I probably won't even be that mad. He probably shouldn't, but if he does, it'll be somewhat reasonable because he really did have a fantastic season this year. But in the playoffs, 17 points on 27% shooting. 27% field goal shooting, 33% from 3. This man has been a travesty. His assists have fallen to 4 a game. He's still getting plenty of rebounds, but just that efficiency, absolutely atrocious. He has, I think it was something like in the last 30 years, no player has ever attempted as many shots as Julius Randle over the first 3 games of a series while shooting so badly. He was shooting like 24% from the floor before the last game. No player has ever attempted that many shots as he did while shooting that badly. This is with guys like Russell Westbrook who've been making the playoffs for years. And Julius Randle is now holding like the all-time record for bad shooting. Holy cow, man. So we all know that Julius Randle is not very good, or I should say he has not been very good in these playoffs. The rest of his team's getting kind of slept on, and by slept on I mean slept on like how bad they've been. RJ Barrett shooting less than 40% from the field. Alec Burks shooting barely over 40% from the field, and just because he had either a Game 1 or Game 2 he was playing really well, he has not been playing well in Atlanta whatsoever. He's another guy who can't hit a three-pointer to save his life, and in fact this whole Knicks team cannot hit a three-pointer. Besides Derrick Rose, nobody on the team, except for one dude, is shooting league average from 3. You know who that dude is? It's freaking Obi Toppin is shooting 37% from 3. If Obi Toppin is your second best three-point shooter, you are not going to win games. I'm sorry, that is a fact. And by the way, Obi Toppin's been pretty solid this series. Like, just want to give a shout out to the only other guy who really has been pretty decent in this series. For a rookie who really barely got any playing time because Julius Randle was so good this season, Obi Toppin has not been talked about at all, but he's playing well in this series. 8 points a game, 58% shooting from the field, 37% from 3, 83% from the free throw line. Just wanted to shout him out. The Knicks might actually have a real solid backup power forward. I don't know how it would ever work with him and Randle playing together, but he's been real solid in this series. I'm glad for him. I'm happy for him. But quickly, meanwhile, who everyone loves, has sucked. Elfrid Payton has sucked. Reggie Bullock has sucked. And RJ Barrett and Alec Burks, like I already talked about, have sucked. Taj Gibson has been okay. He's shooting 63% from the field, which is decent for a dude who only shoots in the paint. He's getting rebounds. He's been alright. Nerlens Noel has been absolutely atrocious. He's shooting 50% from the field, which would be good for a point guard, but for a dude who literally just dunks and shoots layups directly at the rim, that is terrible. He's getting bullied off the floor. Clint Capella completely owns his ass, along with everyone else in the Atlanta Hawks. He looks terrible. He really never should have been getting the minutes he was this season, but now he is. They are really missing Mitchell Robinson. The Hawks own this Knicks team. They don't have the offense. They can't make three-pointers, and Julius Randle has been completely locked down. They just do like late double teams on him a lot. They make him shoot these long twos that he's getting, basically like psychologically, what's the word I'm looking for? Like they're just tricking him into taking, right? Reverse psychology. They're like reverse psychologying him into taking. That's not reverse psychology. You know what I'm talking about, though. They're getting him to take these long twos. He's missing the long twos. Nobody else on the team can make threes except for Derrick Rose. And the rest of the team just isn't doing anything. They don't have a good offense. Thibodeau hasn't made any adjustments in this series, and they are going to lose. I'm almost positive they're going to lose this next game. I'm sorry, Knicks fans. I want to make fun of you, but honestly, I do feel bad because your team has been rebuilding for a while. You got this big fan base. A lot of you really have stayed loyal throughout all this terrible time at being the Knicks. You finally get to the playoffs. You have home court advantage, and you're losing in the first round to the Atlanta Hawks. But if it makes you feel better, the Sixers are probably going to beat them in 5 games. So, at least you don't have to watch the team who beat you go very far. Yeah, I can't, pat your shoulder here, but that's what I'm, metaphorically doing. So I hope that makes you guys feel better.